The year that I was born, this was a vision of the good life.
Grand Am, hot selling for one reason and one reason only.
Runaway with the rich and famous. For years it was Mexican jungle, but oh how times have changed in captivating Cancun.
So now we're living the good life anchored near Cancun, where the water is clear and blue, and we jump in daily from the stern of our vessel. We got here because of viewers like you.
Hi, I'm Robin Leach, and our mission is to track down the ultimate vacation pleasures. This will be your weekly invitation to run away with the rich and famous to the world's best.
I want to talk about the bottom paint of our sailboat. After 6 months in the water, some of that in the fresh water of Rio Dulce, and the other part of it in fully salt water of the ocean, our total boat Spartan multi-season anti-fouling is holding up great. First, we applied the barrier coat in Guatemala, following the instructions carefully. We sanded the surface lightly, and then we applied the anti-fouling. And of course, the anti-fouling is holding on to the barrier coat perfectly. It's still very smooth, shiny, and withstanding marine growth. We have used a soft rag to remove a small layer of slime and stringy seaweed, but overall, we are so happy with this product. Another product that we've been quite happy with are Firmoo prescription glasses that have not crumbled under Robbie's harsh daily use.
Even the plastic ones have surprisingly lasted me a couple of months and they still haven't broken, which is amazing. I go to eyewear like quite a lot.
Also, some good quality devices that remain in our list of things we use daily are these Hollyland microphones. Batteries are lasting, the quality of sound is good. However, one product that didn't work out so great was our Idaho water filter. It produced about 125 liters of pristine, clean drinking water, and then completely stopped producing water after that. The company only offered us the advice of trying to clean out the filters with a water hose, which I did several times to no effect. And now this machine is basically a useless piece of plastic sitting in our bilge. Until we buy new filter cartridges that cost between $30 and $40 USD each, which, as far as we know, would only produce 125 liters of water again. So our Idaho water filter is a disappointment. One of our supporters asked us a little while back to tell the story of how Robbie and I met. So please sit back, relax, and let me tell you our love story. Before Robbie came into my life, my previous partner was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer during our university years. At the time, we moved to one of Canada's most expensive cities to ensure that they received the best care possible. Government-run healthcare saved their life. Canadian taxes funded the research, facilities, doctors, nurses, treatments, and the overall decent living conditions. Altogether, these things saved my partner's life. Without the socialized healthcare that we have in Canada, those resources would not have been available to us working poor folk. Now, I hate taxes like most everyone else. My entire adult working life, it's always felt like I've been barely scraping by, and it's annoying when the tax man comes to get his or her share. But it seems clear to me that worse than that were the landlords, demanding ever-increasing rent just for the privilege of keeping a roof over our heads. So we moved to Southeast Asia to work, to pay less rent, and to live in paradise. There, my partner and I were inspired to chase our dreams. I found and boarded Robbie's family sailboat to begin sailing the area. Back then, I found him on social media advertising exactly what he offered. A spot on a sailboat, sunshine, and fishing.
Fish.
What does this all have to do with capitalism? Well, we all live within it. Everybody watching this lives within it. Every part of this story unfolded within capitalism. Although, we are not capitalists. Let me explain. Many people describe capitalism as simply free enterprise. Some people describe it as the free market. While capitalism includes those aspects, it's much more than just commerce. Humans have been trading goods and services for tens of thousands of years, long before the term emerged in the last 200 or so years. Before that, sometimes we called the wealthy and the powerful people rulers, lords, monarchs, or even in fledgling democracies, we simply called them leaders. Glimmers of the term capitalism appeared in the works of Adam Smith in the 1700s, and by the 1800s, writers like Louis Blanc and Karl Marx were using the term directly. I think the definition of the word is quite simple. Capitalists own capital, the means of production. That includes assets such as land, materials, and labor, which can generate more wealth. Robbie and I are not capitalists because we don't own capital. Even if we got up and sold our boat, electronics, and fishing gear, we wouldn't make enough to survive long enough without buying another useful asset. A functioning boat, land, house, a business, for example. We likely couldn't even afford a van to live in. We're what you call the proletariat. We are primarily sailing laborers who occasionally engage in commerce. Some people are able to climb the ladder from working class to capital-owning class, but that hasn't happened to us. Some people might say that we don't work hard enough, but in my personal experience, the times that I've been the most poor is when I worked the most jobs. That's when I didn't own the roof over my head, and I paid 3/4 or more of my income just to sleep in an apartment at night. The rent was hardest to pay when my previous partner was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Taxes are annoying, again, but rent consuming most of my income was the real struggle. The same taxes that funded the research, hospitals, and healthcare saved my partner's life, as we were too young to afford the multi-million-dollar, years-long treatments that we were grateful for. Meanwhile, the cost of food and rent just kept on rising and rising until Robbie and I said together, enough is enough. We're gonna go live on our sailboat and catch our own food. We just admitted we can't afford life on land. So we sailed south and we lived happily ever after, right? Not quite. We might have escaped the high rent prices by living aboard, but sailing on our boat does not mean that we just escaped the Earth's orbit and escaped all of humanity. Living this way, as opposed to just working a 9 to 5 in the city while scrounging to pay rent, has allowed us to connect more with the natural world, connect more with others who share our particular interests. It's allowed us to learn from local people in all the places that we travel to, and it has given me more time to read and to be informed about the world around us. The ultimate conclusion that this has brought us to is something like this. Canadian, American, and other Western taxes are being funneled more into warfare and genocide than into social services such as healthcare, education, and housing. There's an acceleration of cruelty and injustice, just like a virus that we can't outrun, just as we couldn't fully escape the effects of COVID time. We're living in a moment where justice and fair distribution of taxes are completely crumbling. Taxes once saved our lives, and social justice gave us the wholesome, educated upbringing that I'd want for my own children. At this point, though, I think a tax strike by especially US citizens would be fair. It's one of the only few types of non-violent protests that I can think of, along with mass unionization and work stoppages, which I also support. The only thread to hold on to with paying taxes in a place like where I came from was that at least it was going to social well-being of the public who paid the taxes. Now, politicians who are just taking all that tax money and thinking, how can we use that for ourselves? How can we use that for the people in our class, in our capital class? That is why I often speak about how people should be pursuing justice. They should be organizing collectively. Marching in the street is a great thing to do, of course, because it spreads awareness and solidarity among the people who are there. But I also think that there's other disruptive measures that are just as effective to unsettle those people who are in power. So I have my conspiracy theory that I think YouTube is throttling my videos right now, not only because I have an older audience of people who might disagree with the things I've been saying, which are just things that are happening that are true, but also it's kind of like our lifestyle and the way that you and I live. We're kind of like loose cannons in the world. We are not beholden to bosses, and YouTube is the closest thing I have to a boss. And it's doing that. It's like, no, shut up about international law. Like, I'll just be honest, it's less popular to voice that opinion, but not completely unpopular. Most people agree. And secondly, YouTube itself, the policies of YouTube right now, whatever AI is functioning, controlling impressions on YouTube right now is like, don't talk about certain subjects. Yeah, because the people who have the most power right now don't like loose cannons. They don't like us being able to freely say these things without knowing what we're going to say next. It's not like you and I have tons of money and support that matters to rich people, but they don't want us spreading that to other people, spreading that concept, that idea to other people who may have money. For example, I always think about how my home country, Canada, has lost a ton of my labor. They have lost a lot of my potential for making the country money because of the fact that I'm traveling out in the world instead of being stuck in Canada, being a wage slave and being stuck in a basement apartment, endlessly paying rent and never getting out of that cycle of just barely being able to afford rent. Instead, we picked up hammers, we picked up grinders, and we started building something that is beyond just endlessly being stuck in a cycle of paying rent.
We're endlessly stuck in a cycle of grinding and hammering.
Yes, true. So we can peacefully boycott, we can strike, we can not comply. And I feel like that's the best we can do. We can voice our opinion here and tell others that message. One final thought. I have to admit, the thing that I find most insidious about the system under which we all live is that anyone can get lucky. Now, I understand that that seems like a good thing. Anyone can win and rise to the top, just like the lottery system, but not everyone will win. Most people won't win. So that pretty much sums up the relationship between Ravi and I, believe it or not. That is pretty much the story of how we came together and how we stay together. We believe in justice together. We believe in well-being for each other. And that is how we love each other. Thank you again for watching these videos, interacting in the comments, and we will see you next time on our next sailing journey.
Be kind to each other. Let's be more human. I guess more peace and love, I guess. But that's, I guess it's cringe to say, but I guess...
No, it's not.
I guess the world could use a little bit more love. Keep fighting. Never give up.
Thank you for your attention on this matter.
Yeah, literally, I think we've both kind of escaped the rat race. In some ways, I mean...
My critique of capitalism does not mean we then do not live in capitalism.